Okay, so look, I need to talk about what's coming in the new season of The Kardashians because honestly, this trailer just dropped and my jaw is literally on the floor right now. We're getting drama that nobody saw coming, and I mean nobody. But here's the thing that's got everyone talking. Caitlyn Jenner is back. Yeah, you heard that right. After years of being completely absent from this family's reality TV universe, Caitlyn is making her grand return in Season 7, and trust me, the tension is so thick, you could cut it with a knife. Now, before I get into all the explosive details, let me just say, this situation with Kris Jenner is about to get messy, and I'm here for every single second of it. But wait, because that's not even the craziest part of what's about to go down this season. There's a literal hit out on Kim's life. I'm not joking. Someone close to her allegedly tried to have her killed. So stick with me because we're diving deep into all of this. And honestly, by the end of this video, you're gonna understand why this might be the most intense season we've ever seen from this family. Let's get into it. So first things first, Caitlyn Jenner hasn't been on The Kardashian show since the series moved to Hulu. And if we're being real, her last appearance on Keeping Up with the Kardashians back in 2021 was already pretty sparse. The relationship between Caitlyn and Kris has been strained for years now, and that's putting it mildly. I mean, we all know the history there. The divorce, the transition, the book Caitlyn wrote that Kris felt betrayed by. It's been a whole saga. And honestly, I think most people assumed Caitlyn would never appear on the family's reality show again. The bridges seemed burned, the wounds seemed too deep, but here's where it gets interesting. In the October 1st trailer, we hear Kendall Jenner's voice saying something that immediately sets the tone for what's about to unfold. She says her mom has had a hard time inviting her dad to family gatherings, but she believes her dad should be included in things. Now, think about that for a second. Kendall is essentially calling out her mom, Kris, for excluding Caitlyn from family events. That's bold. That's really bold. And you can already feel the tension building because this isn't just about a simple family dinner invitation. This is about years of complicated emotions, hurt feelings, and unresolved issues all coming to a head. And then we get Kris's reaction. Oh man, Kris's reaction is everything. You hear her voice saying, "Dear Heavenly Father, give me the patience because I'm about to lose my..." And then it cuts off. The editors knew exactly what they were doing with that cut. Kris is clearly not happy about this situation. She's not ready to just welcome Caitlyn back with open arms and pretend like everything is fine. And honestly, I get it from both sides. On one hand, Caitlyn is the parent of Kendall and Kylie, and those girls have every right to want their dad at family functions. They shouldn't have to choose between their parents or navigate this awkward situation where one parent is always excluded. But on the other hand, Kris has been pretty open about how painful the divorce and everything that followed was for her. She felt blindsided by some of the things Caitlyn said publicly, particularly in interviews and in that memoir. So for Kris, having Caitlyn at family gatherings isn't just awkward, it's emotionally triggering. It brings up all these old wounds that maybe haven't fully healed. But here's what I find fascinating about this whole dynamic. This is happening now, years after the divorce, years after the transition, years after all the public back and forth. Why now? What's changed? Is this about the younger generation finally putting their foot down and demanding that their family act like a family? Because if that's what's happening, I actually respect that. Kendall and Kylie have every right to want both their parents present in their lives without all this drama. Now, let me give you my take on this, and this might be slightly controversial, but I think it's time for this family to figure this out. Look, I understand that divorce is messy and complicated, and I understand that Kris and Caitlyn have their issues. But at the end of the day, they share children, and those children are now adults who are building their own lives, getting into relationships, potentially having kids of their own someday. Do they really want to continue this pattern of exclusion and tension at every family gathering for the rest of their lives? At some point, you have to put the kids first, even when those kids are grown. You have to find a way to be in the same room without it being a whole production. Now, I'm not saying they need to be best friends. I'm not saying Kris needs to forget everything that happened. But maybe, just maybe, they can find a way to coexist peacefully for the sake of their daughters. And honestly, if they can work through this on camera, if they can show the messy, uncomfortable process of healing and moving forward, that might actually actually be the most relatable content this family has ever produced. Because let's be real, blended families and complicated parental relationships are something a lot of people deal with. This could actually be really meaningful if they handle it right. But okay, we need to talk about the other massive bombshell from this trailer, because Caitlyn's return isn't even the most shocking part. Kim Kardashian revealed something absolutely terrifying. She says that someone extremely close to her, someone in her inner circle, allegedly put a hit out on her life. A hit. Like, we're talking about an actual assassination attempt. Kim says she got a call from investigators, and apparently someone she trusted wanted her dead. Now, let me just stop right there and acknowledge how insane that sounds. This isn't just regular celebrity drama. This isn't beef or feuds or social media shade. This is criminal. This is life and death. And the fact that it was someone close to her makes it even more disturbing. Because think about what that means. Someone who had access to her, someone who knew her routine, someone who was probably in her home around her children, allegedly tried to have her killed. That's the stuff of nightmares. In the trailer, Kim talks about how it feels like her life is in danger, and honestly, I don't blame her for feeling that way. She mentions hearing footsteps walking into her room and being terrified out of her mind. And if you remember, Kim has already been through a traumatic robbery incident in Paris back in 2016. So for her to be dealing with another situation where her safety is threatened, that has to be bringing up all kinds of PTSD and anxiety. Now, here's what we don't know yet, and this is what's driving everyone crazy with curiosity. Who was it? Who was this person who was extremely close to Kim? The trailer doesn't give us that information, and I'm sure that's intentional. They want us tuning in to find out. But people are already speculating like crazy. Was it someone on her team? Was it an ex? Was it someone from a business deal gone wrong? The possibilities are endless, and that's what makes this so chilling. It could literally be anyone in her orbit. And the fact that Kim is willing to talk about this on camera tells me that either the situation has been resolved or she feels like going public is the safest move. Sometimes putting everything out in the open is the best protection, because then whoever did this knows that the whole world is watching. But still, the emotional toll this must have taken on Kim and her family has to be enormous. I mean, Kris says in the trailer that everybody's kind of on edge, and of course they are. If someone tried to hurt Kim, that means everyone in that family could potentially be at risk too. They probably had to beef up security, change their routines, question everyone around them. That's a horrible way to live. And you know what? I think this storyline is going to shed light on something we don't talk about enough, which is how vulnerable celebrities actually are. Yes, they have money and security and resources that most people don't have access to, but they're also targets. People become obsessed with them. People feel entitled to their lives. People think they know them personally when they really don't. And in Kim's case, she's built an empire that's worth billions of dollars. That kind of wealth and success creates enemies. It creates jealousy. It creates situations where people might feel like they have something to gain from hurting her. So while it's easy to look at the Kardashians and think they have perfect lives, this situation is a harsh reminder that fame comes with serious dangers. I'm genuinely interested to see how they handle this storyline, because it could go one of two ways. Either they'll use it for dramatic effect and milk it for ratings, or they'll actually show the real fear and vulnerability that comes with being in that position. I'm hoping it's the latter, because that would be powerful television that actually means something. But okay, there's more drama. Of course there is. This is the Kardashians we're talking about. The trailer also hints at some serious tension between Khloe and Kourtney. Khloe says she thinks Kourtney's mad at her, and she points out that Kourtney never has anything nice to say these days. And Kourtney, for her part, admits that there's been negativity lately, and acknowledges that it's coming from her. Now, this is interesting because Khloe and Kourtney have historically been close. They've had their moments of conflict over the years, but they've always seemed to work through it. So what's different now? My theory, and this is just speculation, is that Kourtney's new marriage to Travis Barker has shifted the family dynamic. Kourtney seems happier than we've ever seen her, but she also seems more detached from her sisters. She's living her own life, doing her own thing, and maybe that's creating some distance. And for Khloe, who's been dealing with her own relationship struggles and co-parenting challenges with Tristan Thompson, maybe she's feeling a bit abandoned or unsupported. It's easy to see how resentment could build up in that situation. Khloe might feel like Kourtney has checked out of the sister dynamic now that she's found her happiness, while Kourtney might feel like her sisters are being negative about her choices or not respecting her boundaries. The thing about family conflict is that it's often about deeper issues that have nothing to do with the surface-level arguments. It's about feeling heard, feeling valued, feeling like you matter to the people who are supposed to love you unconditionally. And in a family as famous and as busy as the Kardashians, I imagine it's really easy to lose sight of those emotional needs. Everyone's running their own businesses, raising their own kids, dealing with their own drama. Finding time to actually connect and support each other probably takes real effort. So when someone feels